Hey guys. Yep, and I have not figured out how to start these episodes other than saying, hey guys. So welcome to the Podcast Trapping. I'm your host, Anna Agogo, founder of Black Pod Collective, Black Pod Festival, and Adode Media. Yep, baby, 3 whole brands. So that's why I said I'm the Podcast Trapper. And this week, I have a guest. This is our very first guest, and she's already feeling a little gassed because of the fact that she's the first guest, but don't let it go to her head. She's not that special.
Okay.
But no, she actually is. I am joined today by one of my clients, and yes, she is a host on a 4-person episode or show, shall we say, and there's a reason I want this particular person to join us, and so I will let her introduce herself before I tell you what this episode is going to be about.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. First of all, I'm super excited to be here and as the first, so thank you for that. But for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is River Bonds, best known as River the Realtor. I am from the tumultuous city of Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to Chicago. And I am a real estate agent here in the metro Atlanta area. I'm actually a top producing multi-million-dollar real estate agent since we're putting the accolades out there. But yes, I am also one of the co-hosts on Real Talk Atlanta, powered by Adode Media, so that's why this is super special for us to be here, and I'm excited.
You heard all her accolades?
Y'all heard them?
Like, she said, I must throw in multi-million-dollar.
Multi-million-dollar.
I just want to be like her when I grow up. That's all I know. But no, this week I have River here joining me to talk about how she's utilized her podcast to build her personal brand. You guys know the whole premise of this podcast is to focus in on how we can turn podcasting into your new trap, utilizing it as a source to build your business, build your brand, and really go beyond utilizing it as an independent creative to seeing how you can really turn it up a little bit. And as much as I hate to say it, River has actually done that.
Yes. And
the reason I hate to say it is because you see how it's going to her head, y'all?
No, my wig is like shifting because my head getting bigger. Like,
it's already gotten to her head. She's already feeling like, oh, talk that shit. So she's excited for this, as am I. So I'm going to just kind of kick this off first and foremost. River, tell us a little bit about like your social media strategy when it comes to your podcast. Yep. Like, what's the little special sauce you be doing?
Okay, look, I'm only doing this because I'm on this show. I'm going to give y'all my little sauce. But I would say, like, pretty much before I got on the podcast, right, I did not have real content to repurpose. Like, I'm not a content, get your tripod, like, I just never had real good content. And so when we start recording the podcast, I am one of those people, I'm always going to have a quotable and I'm always going to make sure to say something that you can walk away from. Push and P, okay? So what I started to do with our podcast is like every time I would say something that had a lot of influence or had a lot of like an educational piece to it, I would kind of clip it, reformat it. Shout out to y'all again for that because I didn't even know how to do that much. But reformat it and just upload it to my social media. That way I'm able to, one, brand myself as, somebody who's knowledgeable in the industry that I'm in, but also to promote the podcast, make sure that we're getting more views and subscribers and really kind of pushing the message. So what I do is I use the content we create on the podcast, make it, Instagram worthy, make it TikTok worthy, put something out there that's less than 30 seconds that people are going to be like, okay, let me tap more into this, whether it's tap more into me as a realtor, tap more into the podcast. I'm utilizing the stuff that we're doing here on our podcast to grow my business and grow my personal brand.
You say how she said all of that mouthful? Like, all of that. I don't even know if she took a breath. Because
that's like Chicago. Like,
clearly. You're like, let me give you all the tea at once. And don't worry, we're going to break some of that down in the show notes. And one of my big things, especially when working with clients, but in general, is helping people understand that part of being an independent creative, so many people are always worried about sponsorship. People always want, like, who's basically going to come pay for this? Like, this is a lot of work. And I've moved away from this notion of where sponsorship should be your main focus because, let's be honest, most shows don't make it past the 3rd episode. Most shows are not putting the high quality that we put into your show.
For 32 episodes straight, might I add.
Let's just talk that a little bit. Most shows are not having a full production and making sure that they're paying attention to the type of content, what's going on in the market and all of those things. And I get it. You can't afford that. But here's my thing. When you create your strategy for your show, you need to be thinking beyond sponsors and think of like, how can this podcast help elevate me? Part of why I launched a podcast, like somebody asked me recently, they're like, oh, are you going to be telling us how-tos? No, I'm not giving you no more free information. Yes, I said
you got to pay for these.
That's not the premise of this podcast. The premise of this podcast is to be able to show you the work that we do, the quality of our space, and then also for brand awareness and position me as an expert in the industry. That's where people really need to be focused on a little bit more. So, River, you talked about your social media strategy. Walk us through a little bit like how this has helped you in your business for what you do for a living. Like, and talk about what you do. Shoot, baby, you better use this for marketing.
Y'all know River the Realtor gonna give y'all all of that. Like, I need y'all off this podcast afterwards and be like, River the Realtor on socials. But seriously, like, we started this podcast as really an influential tool for our businesses, right? I sell real estate in the metro Atlanta area, everything suburb, all of the state of Georgia, to be completely honest, as well as Illinois. So my biggest thing is, finding clients, looking for people, excuse me, looking for people who are actually in the market to purchase real estate. So, of course, the money thing was something we thought about early on, like, how can we afford this? And before we even met her, we tried to do it ourselves, y'all. We set up some cameras in my, apartment complex, had somebody record it, and my friend recorded this. He know I love him, so if you seen this, you did us wrong.
I heard he fell asleep.
He fell asleep recording it, and at one point, we just heard on the mic, like, and I'm like,
that would never happen here at Adode, just to be clear.
But honestly, we were just trying to cut corners because we were thinking like, we're just going to launch a podcast. It's not that much. And it really is a lot of work. You got to pay to play. But I think the good thing is that when you pay for something like this, you see your return, whether it's in the sponsorship era, which is not really what we focus on. What we focus on is getting clients. So just using a platform to be able to educate people and then show them like, okay, she not only sells real estate, but she knows what she's talking about. She knows different aspects of the business. That's somebody I want to align myself with. Anytime you get in front of an audience and you talk about what it is you do, you're aligning yourself with a potential client, whatever industry you're in, right? I think that the importance of doing this podcast or any podcast in general, and then really giving yourself a platform to showcase who you are, that's really where the money is, right? You can sit on here and talk about building podcasts, creating podcasts. I can talk about real estate, but you need to see who I am as a realtor. You need to understand that I sell $1 million homes. I sell $100,000 homes. I do rentals. I do rental. I do everything in this business. And so my point in coming on doing a podcast was, let me showcase what it is I do. Let me show everybody kind of what my niche is. And then let the business flow in. And I can definitely say it's been very rewarding just because we're utilizing it and doing it the right way. So
I feel like a proud mother.
You should be.
Am I the pod mother? Is that where we
the
go?
Pod mother.
Is that what we're coining me at?
I love that.
I'm the podcast trapper.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be your mama. I feel old.
My mama be trapping, so.
But no, that's the main thing. I love how each of you have positioned yourselves with your podcast. But mainly, I love how you continuously utilize your podcast as an avenue to show up, show your expertise. And here's the thing. Atlanta has 50 million realtors.
60 million.
60 million. There are so many realtors here in Atlanta. It's ridiculous. And I always tell people the same thing with podcasting. Everybody is a podcast strategist. Everybody is a podcast manager. But guess what? Most people come to us when they get to see my personality, plus the work that we do. So you're able to showcase your work in one capacity, but also kind of see wait, is this somebody I would jive with?
Absolutely.
That's the whole premise of creating content. And I think more people need to start thinking about content creation beyond the, chucking and jiving on social media. And
I love a good shucking.
I know you do. I'm not chucking and jiving. I refuse. I did it a few times.
I love each time
I was like, why is this happening to me?
No.
Is this what I have to do?
I have to say this, to your point, right before I kind of got into the content space, before we did the podcast, I used to only post homes on my social media. Maybe a little educational content here, but it would be some words. Did you know that this is what this means or this is what that means? Very educational, still really doing the same thing on the podcast, but it wasn't me, right? It was just verbiage, words. Somebody DM'd me and was like, I love the stuff you say, but what do you, who are you basically? And, the Chicago me was like, What you mean?
Trying to say? Who am I?
Who
Let me
are
pop
you?
off real quick so you know.
But I have to take it into reality. I never posted myself. First of all, I love to talk, which is you can see that. I never posted myself though. I never posted me doing what it is I do, selling homes, working through deals. And she was like, I love this, but I would love to see you in action and doing what you're doing. So I think part of it is, yes, people are always going to buy into what you're doing, your service, your skill, but people want to buy into you as a person. I don't want to work with somebody. If I can't imagine me smoking hookah and drinking mimosas with you, I don't really want to work with you. I want to be vibing.
And you can imagine yourself.
I always be like, let's go get mimosas. You get in the studio.
As
seriously.
long as you know, this is business.
She don't play.
Get to work.
She gonna get you right. But you want to align yourself with somebody who you have some type of compatibility with, and that goes on any front. So when someone's buying a home, this is their most expensive asset. I mean, unless you just got it like that, you got a boat or something. But this is like one of your biggest assets. Nobody wants to spend that type of money with somebody that they don't feel like they can trust, that they don't know who are you, who do you own a home, things like that. So I think your service and your skill is one thing, but you are your own brand, and people buy into you as a person.
I love that you said that you are your own brand, because that to me is what we need to start doing more so in the podcast space. Stop looking at it as this notion like, here's my thing. I get it. Some people, if you have like a narrative-based podcast, like you're doing true crime, something that's hard-hitting, that makes sense, because hopefully you're not out here murdering people, like, I mean, and if you are, that's...
Then stop watching this podcast.
Like, this is concerning. But if you are a person who, like, you just want to talk shit with your friends, because I feel like that's everybody. I own a studio, so I see a lot of things. I hear a lot of different podcasts. And oftentimes I'm like, oh, I can pretty much know in the first episode, like, oh, they're probably going to fizzle out by episode 4, by episode 5, because you're not really, there's no purpose here. You're basically just talking shit with your friends, which guess what? You can do that at home for free.
No, literally.
Once you start paying to come into a studio and a production, lighting, video, all the things, makeup, hair, it then becomes a lot more expensive and very difficult to keep up with. But if you know that, like, hey, I want to get my message out there, think about how this helps align with your brand. So with that in mind, how did you decide? Because I'm fairly sure you've probably wanted... Actually, no, I know for a fact, because when y'all first came to me, y'all were damn near trying to be Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I still do. So if Bravo is watching this, I don't have a husband, but I could be a housewife. Like, I can arrange that.
You guys are basically trying to be like a Real Housewives of Atlanta, but for like real estate, but also talk about like stuff in society and culture and like stuff that was going on in the shade room. I was like, what is this? Like, is this supposed to be for real estate, or is this supposed to be?
It was definitely giving XOXO Gossip Girl when we first came. Like, that was the vibe.
What was it? Wait. What was it supposed to be called originally?
The Closing Table. Oh my God, we had a whole thing set up. We came in here like, let me see what we're doing, Miss Anna.
Oh God.
We're doing this. We've already shot a pilot. Mm-hmm. She was like,
okay, that's nice.
Okay. When we gave her, she emailed us literally like as soon as we walked out the studio. In case y'all didn't see in your extensive research, that name is actually taken. So maybe we'll just come together. We were just so salty. We don't know anything. Like, this was like the best move for our podcast for sure.
Cause let me tell y'all how they came on they DM'd me on social media. They said they wanted to come immediately. Like, they were very forceful with me, y'all.
Because we knew we had some gold on our hands.
They're like, this is it, and we have to strike while the iron is hot. And I remember just being like, here we go. And literally, they came to see it, and they were talking. They were like, yeah, and this is what we're doing, and this and this. They were just telling me a lot of things. And they're like, and we're ready to hit record and start recording this weekend.
Tomorrow.
And I was like, tomorrow. It was the next day. And I was like, okay. Who am I to stop you? This your money. Let me not be the one. And they didn't need a producer. That's what they told me.
Yeah, we didn't.
They're like, we don't need a producer. We just need this. And I'm telling y'all all of this so you can kind of understand like how you can go from a perspective of like your idea can be in one way and how to shape it and shave it down into something much cleaner. Because they literally started off with like, and then we want to be talking about relationships and talking about this and talking about that. And I was like, okay. I mean, who am I? This is your show. And their first recording session.
I just don't even want to get into it. First of all, the first one went so bad that we wore those same outfits 3 times because we redid it 3 times. The first time we did it in my apartment, the second time when we messed it up in the studio, and the third time after you like shook us a little bit and was like, y'all don't know what y'all are doing. And that's literally okay. Like, I am not the podcast trapper. She is. So aligning myself with somebody who I know can like shift and shape really change the dynamic. We wouldn't even have a podcast if it was up to us because we were wilding.
They were wilding. They also almost broke up several times, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the whole premise of having like goals around your podcast. Because even in the moments where they didn't know what they were trying to do, what we were able to talk about is what is the goal of having this podcast? What would make this a good investment for you? What would make this something that you're like, you know what, we want to keep this? And it was like, well, if I'm able to make money off of it, return on investment, build a brand. Okay, so let's build a brand around what you do. You guys are real estate agents. All 4 of you are real estate agents. Talk about real estate, this relationships and everything else. No, unless you want to infuse in like how couples purchase homes beyond that.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I think First of all, I have to say the old line. I know y'all mamas and grandmas been telling y'all this. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, okay? So we always, we didn't think about this until we kind of talked to you. If you're going to have a podcast, anything that you're going to invest your money, you need to have what's called a strategic plan, okay? Strategic planning
Not
is
her walking y'all
literally...
through it. She said,
Listen,
you need to
I'm breaking...
have...
Look, I'm acting
She
like
said,
this.
I ain't breaking it. She said, let me break it down.
Let me break
for
y'all
you.
down. I'm not
Like,
even going to break
Matthew's behind laughing because he knows how much these folks don't be having their stuff together.
Okay.
Not hollering in this studio.
But that's why we need you hollering, because it's making dollars and it's making sense. Literally, you got to have a strategic plan, right? Walking in and saying, like, I'm going to just sit here and kiki and see what happens. What's going to happen is when you get that bill every month, you're going to be like, whoa, what are we really doing here? So for me, it was just like, I'm a money girl. I love money. I want to be money. I was money in my previous life, okay? So I'm like, I need to figure out how I can make this.
What's your thing?
I was really like a $300 bill, but they don't make those no more.
Oh, okay.
No, like we had to figure out what we could do on the podcast to, of course, generate business, because I make my money when people buy homes, people lease homes and things like that. So that we're like, let's pick topics that are going to make people, more interested in the home buying process. Let's talk about these sort of things. Let's answer these types of questions. Let's have this type of engagement. And then putting real measurable goals in place. Just to say, I'm going to have a podcast and I want it to be successful. What does success look like? Does it look like you got 600 subscribers?
Let me go ahead and leave. I don't need to be here. Y'all don't need me.
Stage left.
Like she said, let me go ahead and scooch over to the center because baby, she done took over the show. She was like, let me walk you through what you need to be doing.
No, seriously.
100% correct. And she's done that tenfold because tell us your growth and your reach, baby.
Yes, my growth and reach has been, like I said, I was not a content girl before the podcast came out, but it gave me a platform to use content. So I want to say right around the time we started, which was like mid-2022, I had about 1,800 followers on social media. I just did like a little giveaway like 2 weeks ago for like 4,000 followers. And I think today I'm probably somewhere around 43 to 4,400. And that's like really growing rapidly, all because of the podcast. And then on the TikTok platform, y'all may watch this and be like, oh my God, I know that girl from TikTok.
Not you TikTok
Seriously,
famous.
I got over like, I want to say 2 videos that I uploaded together. They were over 1 million plays. I got over like 250,000 likes. I have over 20,000 followers all on TikTok from this podcast and this podcast alone. I had never done anything influential on social media in terms of like going viral or having a whole bunch of people engage until I started using this content. And then came all of these clients, people who are interested, vendors, and even like help me like launch other things for my own personal brand that of course is making dollars and making sense. So
I need a commission. Is it like 5%?
Oh no.
Is there like
when that bill comes, that is your commission. That's the split.
She said, what we pay you on a monthly basis to
That's
bring
the
this
commission.
podcast to life? That's it. But no, like that's what River has really done with her podcast. And that's really what I encourage people to do. And thank God she actually listens because honestly speaking, I really believe that podcasting should be your main content generator. Like, for me, in this one content day, I'm going to record 4 episodes today. I'm going to record 4 different videos for Adode Media, 4 different videos for Black Pod Collective, the podcast Trapper. Like, we're going to record all of our content, but it also allows for me to splice it up, put it on social, put it on YouTube Shorts, TikTok. I get a ridiculous amount of studio bookings just in clients in just what? I've only released 4 episodes of the podcast Trapper at this point. By the time you watch this, it's going to be a lot more episodes. But all of that to say, I'm not looking at the podcast Trapper as like, oh, I want sponsors. How am I going to make money from it? I don't care about that. I care about getting clients. I care about people seeing that the work that my team and I are doing, people wanting to learn from me, because guess what? That's $10,000 off of one client versus trying to hustle, chuck and jive for multiple sponsors. Like, I don't have energy for that. So I really want people to start thinking about their podcast as a brand and content generator for you. Use it as a way to build brand awareness. And I know everybody's like, well, everybody doesn't have these type of endeavors. Then guess what? It's okay to just talk shit with your friends in the living room. You don't have to make it anything more than that. It could simply just be having friends with friends. Like, I really want us to get back to a place where you just have content for the fun of having content. It doesn't have to be a thing. For me, it does, because these cameras is like $2,000 a piece.
No, serious.
So for me, it has to be a thing. But for you, it doesn't. You know, for you, you can just relax with your friends, record it on your phone in your living room with your homeboys. And that can be okay too. And when y'all don't want to do it anymore, you just stop. But paying a studio $2,000-$3,000 to come in here, yes, it can cost up to $2,000 to $3,000. Don't be like that. It's been worth it.
No, it's working, but it just be like, you got to pay to play.
Hey, it's the quality, you know?
Oh, it's the quality for sure.
And so those are just the things I want people to think more about. And I wanted to have River on the show today to kind of, so it's not just me telling you. It's not just me saying like, oh, these are things that you can do. It's more so you're having an opportunity to hear from somebody who started off where you are probably at right now and is currently utilizing her podcast as a content generator, as an avenue for her audience to get to know her, as an avenue to get new clients and build a brand for herself, because we're about to take off and let's just hope she don't leave me when she do.
No.
Because, you know.
I could never.
You know, like everybody just blows up and then forgets the little people who
I
helped them
cannot
get
forget the
there.
people that got us there. Seriously, this is like, can I give her like, I'm gonna give her a couple.
Oh, wait a minute! Wait, I'm ready.
Adode Media, Anna as the producer, like this is literally like a luxury resort, right?
Ooh.
You can get content, you can get podcasts, you can get photos, like everything that you need is really here.
I'm not forcing her to do this.
No, she's really not. Like for real, it's Saturday, y'all. She's not forcing me to be here. It's just so much stuff. Like you can get it all in house. I think sometimes we try to stretch ourselves thin. Oh, everybody want to be a DIY person. I'm gonna do it myself. But when you have an expert who can really like align you with what you need, help you, organize the show, help you understand what content. This is how your reels need to be. These are when you need to post. Like literally everything is just mapped out, and all you got to do is pull up and perform. You come prepared. 3 P's.
Come prepared.
Pull up. Be prepared. Perform. Everything else, and then you gonna get paid. 4 P's. Oh, you like that? You like that? Seriously, it's all here, like, and it makes the most sense.
So this was not intended to be an infomercial for Adode Media, but hey, I'll take it. Who am I to complain?
Right? Don't put a question mark with the Lord. Put a period.
But thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Podcast Trapper. Really, this is your one-stop shop for all things podcasting. So I'm sharing a lot of my experiences as an entrepreneur, as a producer, as a person who runs 3 different brands, all within the podcasting space.
That's me dusting off your shoulder.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. While also inviting people like River who have utilized podcasting in various avenues, whether it's to create their own production deals, because in time we'll have somebody who'll be talking about that, to utilizing it to build her personal brand. So, River, before we close out, tell the people how they can find River the Realtor.
I think you just said it yourself. Y'all can find me literally on everything, River the Realtor, Instagram, Twitter. I might just go make a MySpace just to give y'all some added benefits of following me. Email rivertherealtor@gmail. Look, if you're looking for me, just look for River the Realtor. You are going to find it. We're going to leave that in the show notes.
Not her saying show notes. And I mean, clearly she forgot. Also, you can hear her on Real Talk Atlanta.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Y'all can also tune into one of
her co-host is going to get into her.
Don't be messy. No, seriously, y'all can tune into the best podcast powered by Adode Media. That would be Real Talk Atlanta, where me and 3 of my favorite, well, the only people in real estate I'm acknowledging, come together and we really give y'all the tips, the tricks. We keeping the real in real estate. So tune in every Wednesday. We'll be back for season 2 starting in I don't know when this is going to launch, but by the time y'all see this, every Wednesday, Real Talk Atlanta, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere.
You heard it here. I'm excited. This has been fun. As I told y'all before, I have no clue how to close out these episodes. So I'm going to try. Check and jive. Oh, my God. I'm going to try out, I think the last time I was coming to you live. So this go around, it's going to be so thank you for tuning in to the Podcast Trapper, where we trapping out the bando. Oh, you see I got my Humble Hustle shirt because I hustle. It. Humble Hustler. Humble Hustler.
I told you was going to check and jive.